Welcome to another episode of The Blitz. I will be your host, Bryan Greer, and today I will be recapping UFC 188. Frabricio Werdum is your new UFC heavyweight champion, defeating Cain Velasquez by submission, by guillotine in the third round. What a fight this was. This was an upset to a lot of people. Now, not to me, as I did pick Frabricio Werdum to win. But I did not think it would be a total domination like that. He did the unthinkable. Make Cain Velasquez gas out. And did it in a spectacular fashion through striking. In the first round, Cain came out, the aggressor as he normally is, just landing combinations, really trying to get Werdum against the fence, but he was counter-striking, staying right there with Velasquez. That first round, I believe, was very close. Back and forth, a lot of action, just very good striking by both guys. And Velasquez tried to take down Werdum, but he had a lot of very sloppy techniques in doing that, and was not able to in the first round, as Werdum was able to just have a great defense and just look fresh. At the end of the first round, it looked like Velasquez was already getting tired, hands on the hips after the first round. After a very high-paced first round, where Werdum and him were just going back, landing combinations after combination. And also, in the second round, it just continued to pile on for Werdum. Werdum was dominant in the second round, landing knee strikes, landing all types of jabs, left, right, hooks, and just bloodying Velasquez's left eye. It was just brutal striking, and thought that it was going to be over by the end of the second round, but Velasquez did remain in the fight. He got dropped, I think, through to a knee by Werdum, and at that moment we all thought it was over, but he was able to get back to his feet and stay in the fight. But in that third round, between the second and third round, Velasquez's trainer told him he needs to start trying to get takedowns, which I don't know why he would tell him that when, as we all know, Werdum is a black belt Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner of the highest order. And that did show in the third round, as Velasquez in the middle of the round tried to go for a takedown, very sloppy. And when he did that, went right into Werdum's guillotine submission. And he had it hooked on tight, and he knew it, and was smiling from ear to ear as he had it locked in, and Velasquez either was going to tap, which he did, or pass out. And this was a great fight, like I thought it would be. And now, with Werdum winning the UFC heavyweight title, you have to consider him the greatest heavyweight ever in MMA. Right there with Fedor Emelianenko, because he is now the holder of the first person to beat the greatest heavyweight of all time before him, Fedor Emelianenko, and now beating Cain Velasquez and doing it in a dominant fashion and gassing out Cain Velasquez, which nobody thought was possible. Wow, this guy is amazing, and you just gotta give him the credit. I know people were talking about Velasquez being out almost 600 days, over a year and a half, him not being in the cage, all the injuries piling up, but you cannot make any excuses. I think that if Velasquez didn't have a long layoff, Werdum still wins. His striking is incredible, how it has come so far in the last 5 years. And now, with his ground game to go along with it, I just don't know who is going to beat him if Werdum is on the top of his game, as we saw. Velasquez had no answers for him. It's just like he had no game plan whatsoever once he saw that Werdum could strike with him. His takedowns were sloppy. He didn't seem to be really trained well for the high elevation of Mexico City, which we all know is over 7,000 feet. And Werdum took advantage of that. Werdum got out there 40 days prior to the fight. Velasquez only 14. That's a huge difference. You got to get acclimated to that type of elevation, because the air is thin up there, and you really have to learn how to fight in that. And I think Werdum just had the better game plan and really took this fight serious and just really got down there and got acclimated to the weather, which is very different from America. It seemed that Velasquez started to believe his own hype, I believe, and just didn't really get his game plan right and take Werdum all the way serious. I know he says that he did and everything, but it just looked like he thought he was going to go out there and just dominate like he normally does. Listen to guys like Daniel Cormier, who we know is a big time, talker and sometimes can be seen almost as Velasquez's hype man because of Velasquez being so stoic. But Werdum is to be taken seriously. He has now done almost the unthinkable. Stopped Mark Hunt by TKO in his last fight, and now submitted Cain Velasquez, which in his backyard, by the way. This was supposed to be a homecoming for Velasquez, fighting in his motherland of Mexico, and he had nobody there. The crowd was going crazy for Velasquez and just dominating him. So I believe now we have to look at Frabricio Werdum as the greatest heavyweight in MMA of all time because of the accomplishments he has done. And just kudos to him. And the media, please stop trying to give so many, excuses and all of that. Werdum clearly dominated Velasquez. And that's all there is to say about it. So, going forward, this is going to shake up the heavyweight division a lot, as we all know. And I believe that he will fight Stipe Miocic next. And I think that is a fight that really favors Werdum because of Miocic not being very good on the ground. And if it's a standing match, Werdum can go at anybody, as we saw. So that will be a good fight if that does happen. We will see if that does come to fruition. But that was incredible. Now moving on to the co-main event, which was Gilbert Melendez versus Eddie Alvarez in the lightweight division. I believe this fight was scored totally wrong. Eddie Alvarez won by split decision. I don't see how you can have that decision. In the first round, it was clearly a 10-8 round for Gilbert Melendez. I don't want to hear 10-9. What did Eddie Alvarez do in the first round? All he did was shadow box, barely landed any kind of punches. Melendez was just teeing off on him, broke his nose also, by the way, which made Alvarez's eyes swell shut after the first round when he tried to blow his nose. And that was just a brutal first round by Melendez, getting him against the cage, doing whatever he wanted, just landing right jab after right jab. His jab was spectacular in the first round. And that continued into the second round. Now, Alvarez did get a takedown, but it was not anything of a complete octagon control dominance in the second round. And again, Melendez was landing that right jab. And I don't understand how you could clearly give that round to Eddie Alvarez. Joe Rogan was saying that was Alvarez's round. I do not agree. That round was Melendez staying active, and they say octagon control is part of the way they judge fights. So he was clearly controlling the octagon, making Eddie Alvarez fight on his heels. And in the end of the second round, he did get a takedown, but that was the only thing he did the second round. Now, going in the third round, that was Eddie Alvarez's round. He did get a couple takedowns, grinded it out, started to get a couple strikes in there, did land a reverse flying elbow. But besides the third round, Eddie Alvarez was very inactive in this fight, in my opinion. And once again, the judges get it totally wrong. And I just don't understand it. A lot of people agree with me. A lot of people had Melendez win this fight. If you saw this fight, I don't see how you give it to Eddie Alvarez. But as we know, MMA judging is clearly the worst in combat sports. It just seems that they just go out there and just, oh, okay, who won the third round? Okay, let's give it to them. They don't seem to take the whole fight into consideration. And that is something that has to change. I don't know if Dana White, Zuffa, the UFC, MMA as a whole can get judging change, because it seems that the athletic commissions are not interested in doing that. This needs to stop, because these guys are putting their careers on the line, and losing fights to judges is got to stop. So I really feel sorry for Melendez, because he did have a very good fight, and unless you finish a fight, you leave it in the hands of the judges, it's no telling what might happen. So, also, going forward, I want to see what happens with Guillermo Melendez, because as we know, he has fought twice for the UFC title, coming up short, and also for Eddie Alvarez, see who he fights next. It was a good fight, but not exactly the fight we all thought we would get. And I believe I would like to see a rematch maybe, but I don't know if that is going to happen. Now, I would like to give also kudos a little lower down on the main card to Kevin Gastelum. He looked excellent at middleweight. As we all know, he's had weight issues in the past, and he seems to just really struggle with that. I believe, like Dana White said in the post-fight press conference, that he needs a nutritionist, and that he needs to really start taking his training seriously, because he is 6-1 now in the octagon. A great fighter, and I believe he could be a champion at the welterweight division if he learned how to cut weight the proper way. So they will be interesting to see going forward, does he fight at welterweight or middleweight, because as we know, he dominated Nate Marquardt, who is a former champion in Strikeforce, and made him have to give up on the stool after the second round. So that was a very dominant performance by Gastelum. Overall, solid card, but nothing too much besides the main event that really just, knocked your socks off. So, going forward, want to hear your guys' opinions. Are you shocked by Frabricio Werdum winning the title? Are you shocked by how Cain Velasquez was able to just be gassed out by Werdum? And going forward, what do you think is going to happen with Guillermo Melendez and Eddie Alvarez? Do you think there will be a rematch? Comment, like, and subscribe to Unrivaled Multimedia. And I will leave you with this. Now that Frabricio Werdum is the champion, get used to the greatest troll face in MMA. Take it easy.